Most influencers do not want you to know that the basics would actually get the majority of people to their goals. Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to chat with you guys a little bit about this. And I'm not saying we don't need anything else. I'm not saying there isn't a use for other stuff. I mean, I own multiple machines. I own a reverse hyper. I own a belt squat. I mean, I own all these things, and I use them regularly. But that being said, for the majority of people out there, particularly younger lifters who may not need things like the reverse hyper and all of that for back health and prehab, I mean, realistically, the majority of the guys out there, if they just did the 5 lifts I'm doing in this video and they got really good at them, they'd be the most jacked person in the room. They get their protein, their diet sorted, they get leaner, get their body fat way down, hands down, right? Hands down, especially when guys get real lean. People get down to 10, 11% body fat. If they've gotten really good at even just these 5 lifts, you can't tell me you're not going to be jacked. So look at what I'm doing. I'm just doing the classic power lifts, squat, bench, and deadlift for heavy rep work, and then you see me doing weighted chin-ups and then some strict barbell curls. And I think people forget that. They bring that up and they're like, well, people can't get really jacked off the big 3 and their arms will lag and everything else. And yeah, there's a degree of truth to that part. But what happens when you actually do arm work? What happens when you do arm work? What happens when you do the big 3 in a way that actually uses muscle too? I've seen some of these other people argue this. I've seen some guys who are more bodybuilding oriented now who are like, well, when I was focusing a bit on the powerlifting and I was nowhere near as jacked, but then you look at what they were doing. Okay? They're doing sumo deadlifts with straps. Okay? All right, hopefully no one thinks that the sumo deadlift is superior to the conventional in any way for just getting thick, right? They're squatting in knee wraps. They're going to less quads. Bench pressing, bouncing it off their chest. I mean, I've seen some of these guys are talking about they were powerlifting. You're not powerlifting. You're bouncing the bar off your chest on a bench with bad form, and they aren't even strong on the bench. Okay? They'll make these silly claims, and I'm like, I'm sorry, your training was lackluster. Hey, you can get real big on the bench. You need to learn how to bench in a way that makes you bigger. Like, look at how I was benching in this video. You can't tell me you're not going to get jacked benching in that way. Wide grip, flat back, pausing it. Conventional deadlifts will make you thick. Okay. What I'm doing here, you can't tell me there's not a lot of muscle working there. Come on. All right, so you do those things, but then what happens? What if you say, well, instead of that, I'm going to also really focus on chin-ups or pull-ups, some curls. Well, then guys are going to have biceps too. This stuff I've more recently really started focusing on because I'm caring more about my physique and less about, strength as I get older and older. I still care about strength. Don't get me wrong, you guys are watching me rep 3, 4, and 5 plates on the squat, bench, and deadlift, and this is straight benching. This isn't even power benching. You guys have seen me bench more power lifter style, bodybuilder benching. Okay. But, the curls and the chin, stuff like that can bridge the gap. Yeah, maybe some extra tricep work. All right, for most guys, they're going to get really jacked doing that if they put in the time and the effort and the work. Every muscle's going to get worked. Every muscle in your body's going to get built. Right? Really want to take the aesthetic end up another notch. Throw some pullovers in there. Ooh. And then I think we really got some money. All right? Throw some pullovers in. And I would almost say that for anyone who doesn't have specific weak links, if they just want to get really stacked, really jacked, maybe focus on these 5 lifts and then some pullovers on top of that, those 6, that would almost be like a golden 6 right there. That would be money. The majority of guys just really got good at those lifts. Really good. I mean really good, guys. I don't mean where you're benching 225 for one rep. Put the effort into those lifts. Eat a high protein, high carb diet, get that fat down, eat plenty of fruits and vegetables, then get your body fat down. Now, dude, you'd be one of the most jacked people walking around. But all these influencers, they want to tell everyone they need certain movements that they don't need. And again, I want to be clear, I do some isolation work, I'm program isolation work. Not telling anyone they don't need it, but that's probably for lifters who are a little more advanced. I still hold to that position that those other movements would build most guys' base real good. And again, I think guys like Martin Birkin got it right with that. Birkin got it right. His followers, look how many of his followers were super jacked even when he was pushing that. I think people train more than they need to. I think too much stuff gets pushed at them that they don't need. And I'm not saying we don't need multiple angles. I think every muscle in the body responds well to having a couple of angles hit. But you are getting a couple angles from these when you really look at it, especially, like I said, you throw something like the pullover in on top of it. Oh yeah. All right. Might not be optimal for lower body, with just the squat and the deadlift. But if guys are not pursuing bodybuilder level lower bodies, okay, they're not trying to win high level powerlifting meets, there's a difference there. Big difference. I don't know, maybe I'm just rambling here, but again, I see too many influencers trying to tell people they need way more stuff than they need who don't even have a base. Guys who don't even have a base, worried about the exact angle of a tricep press down. You got guys with 12-inch arms. Come on. You got guys who can't even rep 225 on the bench worrying about that stuff. Telling their audience that. And then selling them supplements. All right? It's all nonsense. Okay? Most of the things when we're talking about a lot of these things are when you're already an advanced lifter. That's when you really have to fine-tune certain things a lot more. People who can't squat, bench, and deadlift 2, 3, and 4 plates for a rep or two, you don't have a base. You don't need to be worrying about most of that stuff, other than maybe throwing some curls and some chin-ups in. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.